was standing with David Gold, and I was just numb. And Taylor and Jim walked the shirt out, and I know they were numb too. You know, we were still trying to process what had just happened 24 hours beforehand.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Saturday morning G&T. Unfortunately, or fortunately, we've replaced the T with another T. We've got Tony here today with us. How are we doing, Tony? Okay, mate?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for the invite. Late substitution. I've come on and hopefully I'll be for everyone.
Yeah, little substitution. So yeah, Turkan, we've got a big interview today with the Tombides. So it's all T's today. The Tombides, the DT38 Foundation. Turkan's on that, but unfortunately couldn't join us this morning. What do we need after G&T, mate? Glenn and Tony.
Yeah, after a Glenn and Tony and a Turk, you need a P.
Yeah.
As always, the stalwart of the show, Priyash, with us here today. All us three, you may or may not have seen on our social media, all us three went to the Carabao Cup final. Me and Tony was on ITV as well. Tone, how did you find that, mate? What's your thoughts on the Cup final?
Depressing, if I'm honest with you. You know what? It was a good day out. It was good to kind of be out there. Supporting the team again, and you know what, it was a lot better than I thought it would be. I think going into it, we weren't really sure how it was going to turn out with 8,000 supporters, half of them being NHS. You know, we met a group of people from the hospital on the tube up there actually, and thinking, is it going to be the same? You know, 2,000 from each side. But actually, atmosphere was good. Before the game as well, we got there nice and early, had a couple of beers, met a few people. But yeah, no, it was a good day out. It was nice to be. Result was obviously not what we wanted. But it was just good to be out there again, you know, and I think everyone enjoyed themselves, didn't we?
Yeah, yeah. Pre, what did you you had a chat, and we've got some footage and whatnot with a couple of the NHS staff. What did you think? Did you think that contributed to the atmosphere? Because on that video, they actually tell us that they're Chelsea fans. So
yeah, no, look, mate, it doesn't matter who they support, really. You know, I think this had to be a pilot event where they invited fans back. You know, they tried it. I think it was it was November time, wasn't it? North London Derby was that one game. They had that one Europa League game. They had, like, everyone had one home game in there, and you had 2,000 fans. So this was a lot bigger. They had 8,000 fans in, and you know, so rightly they had the NHS there and the local residents for Brent. And look, from Alistair Gold, Sam Matterface, you know, the guys that were there in the media box sitting not too far behind us, they said the atmosphere was amazing. Obviously, we were really involved in the game emotionally and mentally. You know, we probably didn't feel it as much as them, but they said the atmosphere was really good. And they were saying that normally Wembley, even when they were say 40,000 in there instead of the full 90,000 capacity, you know, the acoustics of the place is not made up to make it sound good, but with just 8,000 fans in it, they said it sounded brilliant. And you know, on the WhatsApp groups, they're saying they could hear the Spurs fans on there. Mate, like Tony said on the interview, which he was really gassed about, everyone for his Tony TV star on ITV News. You know, it was just great to be back in the stadium, mate. Such a blessing, and you know, the result didn't go away. But I think if you look at what Man City done in the Champions League against the caliber of player and team, and you know, the experienced manager, our old manager Pochettino, just shows, mate, that we, you know, it was a free kick that shouldn't have given away by Serge, but you know, Serge has got that in him. And then, you know, our man who we got the tickets from, big up Musa Sissoko, but he fucking shouldn't have been on that pitch, mate. He should have been Tanguy coming on. But you know, that's got to be down to Ryan Mason's lack of experience. And yeah, look, talking about the day itself.
Mate, like, I don't really know whether that's the case. You've got like Gareth Bale, who for me, I've said it before and I'll say it again, missed the cup final, who had an amazing game in the previous.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I don't think that's an experience thing.
how's he started fucking 70, 80? How long did he play against Southampton? About 80 minutes, 75 minutes. Fucking take him off earlier on there and play him in the bloody cup final.
Yeah.
You know, I think, you know, unfortunately, our big players didn't turn up as well.
Son, yeah, didn't have a good game.
Kane, people say Kane was injured, but Kane was out for a week. He went like the Champions League final, where he was out for 3 months or 3.5 months or 2 months before. He was out for a week, so it made no difference to his fitness levels, I don't think. And, you know, for all the talk of Jose Mourinho and the type of football he plays, etc., I think that's the exact blueprint that
could have won it, right?
You know, no, but that's the blueprint I think that Ryan Mason's actually undertaken, you know, in that game. But look, it's gone. You know, fucking how many finals have we been to? Not was one of man, mate. It's shocking. We ain't scored in the last 4.
Yeah.
So it's obviously not just a manager thing.
Might be you, Pre. You might be the bad luck. You know, you've been to all these finals. Maybe take a day off, and you know, you might win. What do you reckon?
I don't even remember getting. I was more excited with the build-up of it all. I don't remember jumping up at any stage or feeling any sort of adrenaline. We was obviously sitting next.
You definitely felt some emotion, mate.
I felt emotion, obviously, yeah, 100%.
Me and my dad were sitting behind you and Tony watching. All it was this.
Yeah, it was depressing. It was.
Yeah, I mean. The thing, what I mean is with where we were sitting.
There was nothing exciting in the game.
Where we were sitting, for one, I didn't really feel the atmosphere that the people that you've mentioned have said, and obviously it must have been a thing for them to mention it. But for two, we were sitting amongst Reguilon's family and missus. We were sitting amongst a lot of the other players, as well as to my right hand side was. Charlie Kane, his missus, and Harry Kane's mum and dad sitting behind, and I was looking at we was with the players. So with the body language, I mean, I was really taking a keen eye on looking at those guys and seeing, because if they were throwing their arms up in the air and that sort of thing, feeling aggression towards the game, I think that is a telltale sign in itself. But there was none of that. I didn't see any point that they. I really deep down believe that they are big Tottenham fans, but all the noises coming out of that little camp there is that he's definitely going. Tom, can you see him leaving this? I know the money side of things is not where we think, but can you definitely see him leaving?
I think if you watch that interview he put on Sky Sports the other day, where he said, look, he wants to be winning trophies. And I think even the most diehard Tottenham fan, which we are, would have to admit the guy deserves to win, you know. He's given us everything. And I think it comes to a stage now. I was reading that there was a quote that he put out in 2017 where he said that, you know, he would be upset if he hasn't won trophies within 3 years. We're 4 years down the line now. He still hasn't won anything. So can I see him leaving? Yes, unfortunately. I think I can. The biggest stumbling block you're going to see with that is Mr. Levy. And you know,
it's Mr. Levy, but can anyone afford to buy him?
Do you think it's... Do you think it's actually the end of the world if he actually leaves, Pre? Because I mean, from what I say, is if Tottenham go and get 150 million for him and go and invest it wisely in 2 brilliant players, i.e., I don't know, it won't happen. I can't see it happening. But if we went and got a Lukaku and a Skriniar from Inter Milan, I honestly believe that's a better starting lineup than we've got currently.
Mate, I've answered it as soon as you said it. No, I don't think it's the end of the world. I think the whole club has changed since Gareth Bale left us. You know, we've changed what our goals are as a club, and you know where we should be aiming, and all the facilities we've got, etc. And everything said and done, mate. And the best striker in the world, which he is, best all-round striker in the world. You know, you've got to get the Lewandowski fans having their 2 pence worth from what I've just said. But as an all-round striker, he's the best. Full stop.
I think, you know, the biggest concern is we're losing 25 goals a season. And that's what everyone's worried. And apart from that, he is Tottenham, you know, he's Tottenham through and through. We sing the song, he's one of our own. And that's probably what's getting us more than anything else. But I think when you look at it, like you said, Tree, when it comes down to it, everyone's replaceable. You know, no one's bigger than the club. I think that's where
I think the Gareth Bale sale was probably more relevant at that stage because he was the one standout star. Now, I don't actually believe we've got as bad a team as we've been performing with this year. I think there is standout players there still. I think Son and Kane going will be quite damaging.
But that's the problem, though. Then I believe if Son was to go this summer, rumours are that Son's already signed his contract, but they haven't announced it yet. But I doubt that's the case, because I'm sure Tottenham would have wanted all the fans to have something to rejoice about. If he had already signed it, they would have announced it. But we never know. He changed agency, and it's an agency that's very close with Tottenham. But at the end of the day, if Bayern Munich come knocking for Sonny Boy, it's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult. He's played out in Germany. They know he knows the league. Sorry? Do
you think the tears at the end of the game would tell him?
Because I don't. He's quite a few times, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, like you had all the Man City players walking up, consoling him and whatnot. I mean, it is disappointing, but I don't think the Carabao Cup final is as disappointing as tears. And I know you said it is.
Saying that, Glenn, on Spurs TV at the end of the Southampton match, he was interviewed by the reporter there, and he said then you're looking forward to the final. He goes, no, I'm not looking forward to the final, because there's no point in us going to the final. We're not going to win it, so I'll only look forward to it if we win it. So I think he genuinely wants to win something, and I think he's not the only one. I think a lot of those players there want to win something, mate, but they've got to get over the line, and a lot of it is down to the players. And that's why when you ask me about Harry Kane, again, controversial, but what have we won with him?
No, absolutely. But I mean, I do think that this is the biggest signing a Premier League club could make, almost in history. I think it's on par with kind of that. Yeah, I think it's that Van Persie style.
No, we've not forget Van Persie, of course, because he went in his most recent. But I was
made an absolute difference. I
was going to say Eric Cantona, mate.
I don't think Cantona was that standout player. At that stage at Leeds, he wasn't.
Yeah, he'd had a season. He'd had a season. They'd won the league, didn't they?
Yeah, but even Van Persie, he was good, but he was never consistent. I thought he was always injured. This guy is consistently 25 goals every single season in, season out. I think it's 7 seasons in a row now.
Yeah.
His stats are incredible. After Messi and Ronaldo, I think he's the most consistent player out there in terms of goal contributions. But look, I spoke to Harry Kane's dad after the game. I said to him, look, we all had a good drink. We wanted to enjoy the occasion. Some more than others, Glenn?
I was making the most of it.
Made the most of it, mate. Everyone, before we go any further, Glenn actually ran off at the end.
I had to put the baby down. at the end of the night, so I knew my missus was going to grill me. So I thought, right, see you later.
Okay, well, I'm not going to say anything because I know Charles supports us and watches the show, so that'll be nice. Anyway, going back to what I was saying. Look, as I said to H's dad at the end of the game, walking out, said to him, the son deserves better than this. And when you say we're there on Tottenham fans, they definitely are, because he just turned around and looked at me and said, we all deserve better than this. I told you that when you said it. But again, I just think some of the decisions made with the starting lineup, but you know what? You can make that. You can. Those things can happen with the starting lineup. Fair enough. Yeah. Cool. But the substitutions for me were criminal, mate. Were fucking criminal. You cannot bring on Moussa Sissoko when you've got Tanguy and Dembele, a record signing, the only person in that midfield that's comfortable as anything on the ball. I know Brian Mason's probably good mates with Winksy and he believes in him and the rest of it, but the geezer's done fuck all season, mate. He's not been at the level, and we changed the way we were playing in the sense that, every single 75% of the time, the ball was played out short by Hugo. They played it in between the box. And I think there was a lot of positives in the sense, I think Toby probably had his best game for us in about a year, 2 years. Well, Eric Dyer had an incredible game, except for the one time that he ran up the left back, left channel and gave the ball away. But he's got that in just like that. Mate, they're all the same, isn't it? Like Sanchez is incredible. He's an athlete. He's got pace. He's got wicked spring on him, but he's got a mistake a game. Dyer, brilliant. You know, his distribution's not very good, Eric Dyer's, but as a defender, he's bloody good at what he does. He's like your old school, he's a Viking, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got one ricket a game in him, and I don't know what that is. It's almost like he does it on purpose, Dyer. But he has to have one little fault every single game, and whether or not it results in a goal or not, I don't know. But Tone, we touched upon the humming song, having a little cry up at the end of the game. Priyesh walked up to someone else who seemed to be having a little cry up at the end of the game and got a little interview.
This young lady over here, she's upset because we lost.
I am upset.
What did we call us? A bunch of... No, you can say it, it's fine, don't worry.
Look, at the end of the day, I'm upset. I came to the Carabao final.
What final?
Carabao final.
Okay. Yeah.
And I came to the Champions League final.
Yeah, so did I.
And both times I was let down. I love Spurs.
Who'd you blame? Levy, the manager, the players.
Levy's got to be to blame.
Your boots.
Got to be to blame. I'm so drunk, but I have to get this drunk to cause the pain. Because the pain is awful. I love Spurs. Spurs are my blood.
Can we ask you, we've got a challenge going on.
Yeah.
And that challenge is called Have You Got a Bush? So can you answer that question?
Have you got a bush?
Have you got bush?
No, I'm smooth.
Brilliant. Just a reminder, guys, anybody that's watching, you can use our discount code SMGT on www.manscaped.com. Free delivery, 20% off with the Got Bush challenge. Incredible parade. That was great footage.
Yeah. Use the discount code, guys, if you want to be smooth, like the lady says.
There's been a few other bits going on this week and last week. Most notably, the Super League, the so-called European Super League. There's a bit of footage floating around from our North London friends at the Arsenal fans. Can you see why, guys, the Arsenal fans are so irate compared to the Tottenham fans?
It's interesting, actually, because there was a different kind of angle from both boards. I mean, if you saw afterwards, Arsenal board came back and actually apologised, said, we made a mistake, whereas Tottenham was a little bit more corporate and,
I think, what that comes down to? I think that actually comes down to where the clubs come from, mate. Tottenham, I don't like to admit it, but the facts are Tottenham haven't won the league in 60-odd years. We're a club that are on the up, and, we're building a nice, bright future with the best stadium, best training facilities. And, once fans get back into the grounds fully, whenever that is, the revenue streams, etc., they're all going to be up there for us to become a bigger club, to be with the big boys. Whereas with Arsenal, it's completely different story. Like, when we grew up, how bad was it, mate? Arsenal were the best in the country. Even when they weren't winning the league, they played the best football. They were the innovators. They had all they had the players that would love to have in our team. From
it used to come to Derby Day, didn't it? It used to come to Derby Day, and I think the best we used to be able to hope for was maybe a draw.
That we score first and we celebrate. Remember Newball? We went Newball and Gareth Bale scored that free kick, and then Adebayo scored that mad goal on the turn. And
you're right, mate. I think you're right. I really do, and I think from where they come from, comes down to me. Where they come from, the Invincibles, and where they were, and the promise that they were sold with the stadium, with being a global big hitter. Getting Pepe for 70 million is great, but you've spread it over 6 years or whatever. You've not actually outlaid that much net at that stage. It's all spread out. It's not the big promise.
15 million a season. That's one of the reasons Unai Emery left, isn't it? And he fell out of the board because he wanted Wilfried Zaha. But, to buy Wilfried Zaha, you probably had to pay 75 million up front. Or whatever.
Yeah. I don't think they're getting that at this stage anymore for him, but
no. But at that time, this was being talked about in the commentary yesterday. I'm sure Turk was watching with a big smile on his face with the female commentator and stuff. He loves it, doesn't he? I was really thinking about Turk when she was on.
I might edit this out. Well, we were talking about the Arsenal. And thought we'd have a little look at some of the footage that was floating around from that big protest. And there is one absolute standout moment that that me and the guys were looking at the Carabao Cup final over and over and over again.
Ouch.
It's comical, but then when you actually see the other video of him being stretched away in the state of his face, mate, the geezer's, he's done, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's done like reconstruction of the face and all the rest of it, mate.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Don't do drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, guys. I mean, let's staying
staying on that subject in terms of that protest, mate. Mate, that was a proper protest, mate. There were, I don't know how many heads there were, but there must have been at least 10,000 or 5,000 people there. You know? There were some serious numbers there that day, and if I was an Arsenal fan, I would want Conte out as well, mate, because he's milking it, mate. He's never going. You've had like the consortium of the Spotify owner, and you've got Impact, Criterion, Re, and Bergkamp, and the rest of them that want to come and buy them. Why is Conte going to sell? He ain't going to sell. Only way he probably sells is if they don't make Europe again this season, which they're probably not. They might do. We don't know what happens in the second leg. Mate, I don't see them beating United even if they do get to the final, because United are looking fire at the moment. But you know what? Good. We're shit, but they're shitter.
Yeah, it's not a great time for both the clubs, is it? Really? It's but I don't really think you can count too much into this season. You look at all the clubs that you can only really say United and City have come out of it. Maybe Leicester, actually, with any credit. This season's been an odd one.
Fans, mate. If you talk to West Ham fans, they think they've won like the World Cup or something.
Yeah, I think this is where Turk comes in. So let me kind of channel my inner Turk and say, best team in London.
Well, guys, talking about West Ham, I couldn't have wished for a better lead into it. We have coming up Dylan Tombides' own foundation, DT38, the CEO Tracylee Tombides, discussing men's health, how you should check your testicles. All ties in nicely with the Manscaped Ballers is their promotion there, and this month is the month really to make sure that you get cracking on and checking those testicles. It's an absolute
cancer month, isn't it?
Testicular cancer month. Move forward. The aim of it is once a month, every month. Go down there. Tracylee mentions in the next item we've got coming up. We've got our hands down our trousers enough. So why don't we check them once a month? And it is a great point, because it is one of the biggest killers out there, even more so than COVID. And look what COVID's done to everybody. So yeah, on to the next item. Here we go. Tracylee, take it away. Tracy, we wanted to get you on here because it has been the 7-year anniversary of the tragic passing of your son. And really, we want to bring you on to raise a bit of awareness and make both males and females more aware of how to be looking and checking themselves, and kind of discuss the legacy that Dylan's left behind him. Is that okay?
That's fine. Thank you.
Absolutely perfect. We wanted to start off with, it was a bit of a different career path than a lot of footballers are taking. How did Dylan come to be a footballer at West Ham?
When Dylan was first born, he had an influence with his father. His father was the stay-at-home parent, and I was at work, and so by 18 months he was kicking a ball with both feet. So soccer was, as we refer to it in Australia, it was very much a day-to-day thing for the family. And then when Taylor came along a couple of years later, we started building this little small team, and football was what they played. They joined the local club down there as early as they could, and yeah, they never looked back. We moved into Macau in 2007 for my work, and Dylan was 13 at this stage. So we know around 13, 14 is the age where they either decide that they want to go into football or they don't. And so we had an opportunity to take him to West Ham then, and we did. We took him up to West Ham for trials in August, and Tony Carr loved him. So at that particular point, I had the option to a job offer here in London. So we decided to take it. And yeah, that's how both Taylor and Dylan became involved with West Ham.
What was that like at that stage, moving over to London? And whereabouts was it that you moved to? What sort of part of was it London or Essex did you move to initially for the training ground at West Ham?
We moved into Essex. We moved into Romford, and mainly because the friends that we knew up here were in and around that area, and we were recommended to, for the boys to attend Barking Abbey School. So just being in and around that area was crucial. Me travelling to and from London was no problem with the infrastructure that's available to us. So yeah, we decided that we would be as close as we could to their training and to their school, just to make things easy to start with.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. Turk, what was your memories from around that sort of time? Because I mean, as a Tottenham fan myself, I found myself hearing of this young Aussie kid who was smashing it in the youth teams and whatnot. Do you remember much about him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I mentioned before on the show, like we're very good at kind of making the fans or building the hype up with youngsters kind of coming through the academy. And, we've had that before with certain people we've spoken to, but there was a crop of players that were coming through West Ham. And Dylan was one of those players that was always mentioned, along with Elliot Lee, the son of Rob Lee, George Moncur, son of John Moncur. So there was, and Dan Potts as well, son of Steve Potts. So it's kind of,
he's gone. I think his Wi-Fi is having a bit of a moment there. But I mean, as I say, as a big Tottenham fan, I distinctly remember hearing of sort of the goals that he was scoring and whatnot. Did he find it easy with schooling and sort of transitioning from school to school?
Yes, he did. I think when you go to school in Macau, with all the Chinese and Portuguese culture out there, like to come to predominantly an English-speaking environment, you adapt very quickly. So schooling was no problem. He's a type of kid that didn't want to sleep or rest or anything like that. So he was always active. So school, come home, go out and play golf. Just had to be on the go the whole time. So yeah, he adapted to life up here very easily.
Yeah, Turk, do you want to follow on from that, mate? I mean, you got cut off there in regards to that team that you was playing with. Yeah,
I did get. I don't know. Every time I talk about West Ham, you lot cut me off, so I'm starting to get a little bit of a finger about this now. But so, as I was saying, from that point of view, it was a career that, as a fan, we was always excited to see the players coming through, and it goes back. Feels like a long time ago. Go and buy a program because we've done that for a while. But in the program, you'd always see the players and them scoring and doing well. So Dylan was in a crop of players we was very excited about coming through. So in terms of memory, that would be that. In terms of obviously legacy, over the last 7 years, I think West Ham have done a fantastic job and hopefully continue to do so in order to make sure that the memories are not forgotten about Dylan.
Wanted to touch upon some of the real highlights of his career. One of which was a chipped goal that keeps on getting replayed and replayed and replayed, which is just a standout goal. Let's have a look.
It puts a smile on my face. It really does, because Dylan came home that night and just said, sometimes you have to put goalkeepers in their place. And, and that was how he remembered that that goal.
Yeah, I mean that's instinctive. You don't overthink that. That's just one of those goals you just look back on, and as a player, I mean that will live on forever with Dylan. I mean, there's a few other goals, and there's an interview with Carlton Cole from a tour that they were doing that I was listening to, and he played up front with Carlton. Now Carlton had a great career at West Ham at that time, but it looked as though he was just about to break into the first team. Do you have any memories from that sort of time and how positive that was? Because from what I've seen, he was suffering for about 3 years, but he continued going to the training ground. Was that around that sort of time that he was looking to break in?
It was just at the start. Yeah, it was the start of his testicular cancer diagnosis. And, I remember him going away to Portugal with the first team, and he celebrated his 17th birthday over there. And as a mum, I was horrified. And I was reassured by a number of players, he'd be fine, we'll take him under our wing. But the phone call that I got about 3 a.m. didn't suggest that anyone was taking him under his wing. But without telling anybody what was doing, he just was taking it in his stride. He just expected that to be part of his journey. That was what he was required to do to take the next step. So he was very humble. Yeah.
It seemed that way, and it seemed like he was just literally on the cusp of breaking into that first team. But that is an absolute testament to the guy that at that stage where there's so many distractions that he still continued to, and that was the main thing that I kept on hearing and seeing, that he continued to show up and continued to sort of keep a smile on his face despite everything that was going on in the background, and that's what you keep on hearing. How was that? I mean, it's obviously a ridiculously tough thing to deal with, but how was that for you? I mean, I've got 2 kids myself, Tracy, and I cannot imagine what you've been through and the fault that, I mean, we're all parents, me, Turk and Pri, we're all parents, but when did you hear of the news, and was there any coping mechanisms that you can sort of advise that are ways to move forward if you do get some sort of news like that?
I think I've learned my coping mechanisms afterwards, but certainly when Dylan was misdiagnosed before, around about April, and when he went to finish the last game of the season on the bench with Sunderland, by all accounts he was going to make his debut, but they got rid of Avram Grant a couple of games before the end of the season, and he was a very big believer in Dylan and his talent, and unfortunately it didn't work out that way. But he was gearing up to go out to Australia to join up with his under-17 teammates for the Mexico World Cup, and he'd gone out to there and had a random drug test about the 4th game that they played, and the results came back that he had either taken a banned substance or that he had a tumour, and right. He knew that he hadn't taken a banned substance. So it was from then on that I got the phone call. Unfortunately, they couldn't get back to Australia. When you don't really know when you're going to get knocked out of those events. So by the time that they actually were able to book him a flight back, was about 3 or 4 days later. So it was 3 or 4 days from hell. And the first person I rang when I got the news was the West Ham club doctors, and they put everything in place for Dylan's arrival back the day that he arrived. Have 24 hours to recover, and then get down to see one of the club's doctors and on to see a urologist and go from there. So from the point of view of how West Ham handled the situation as soon as they found out, I couldn't ask for anything better. So as far as coping goes, my beliefs are that everybody's paths are mapped out, and this was Dylan's journey. And his journey was here to raise awareness of testicular cancer, and I suppose that's my coping mechanism, knowing that he wasn't here for a long time, just long enough to make an impact on the world.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you've got recent events of a young lad that tried jumping in. I don't know whether you've seen it in the news recently. A young lad jumping in to save someone from drowning. which I see the parents on the news the other morning, and all I can think of is that would be your coping mechanism in that circumstance. That guy, that boy, will forever be known as a hero. And the same thing with Dylan in regards to, you can always keep that tag of he was brought here to raise awareness, and let's continue that, and let's make sure. I mean, until very, very recently, I was completely unaware as to how you could check yourself. And my father-in-law said to me the other day, he said, "You know what, Glenn? The biggest, this is my father-in-law, not even my father, the biggest gift you can give your family is your health." Because everyone's going through a lot at the minute, and this lends itself quite nicely to sort of this subject. I can't imagine what you've been through, but I think that the journey you're on is amazing. I mean, we've looked into the websites and the sort of marketing almost that you've done, and we really, really need to drive this home, don't we, guys?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I just wanted to obviously echo on that, and sorry for my reception. It's been poor this morning, which is unusual. Another question for you, Tracy. Obviously, Dylan's had a brother. He's got a brother, called Taylor, who was also at West Ham as well. And for such a young lad who was also dealing with trying to get his own career on path, to have to go through such a tragic time, how has he been, and how is he now 7 years on, and what's he looking at doing moving forward?
It was really tough on Taylor, largely because as a family we moved around a lot. So when you do that, you rely on each other, your best friends, because you're often uprooted and to go somewhere else, so you have to make new friends all over again. And for sure, to lose somebody so close to him, it has been really difficult for him. He was on the books down at West Ham. He suffered some recurring injuries often through his career, so he struggled to make an impact that he wanted to make. We're really proud of what he achieved as well, and he's loved football. He decided that he didn't enjoy the injuries anymore. They had a really mental impact on him, running as hard as he could in a game, and then pulling up, just was a continued reminder all the time that he was not getting a break. So he's developed a passion for coaching. And right now he's coaching the 11s and 12s down at the academy. So, there's a lovely story. And as a mum, you're always trying to educate your children. And, one of the things I say to him is, I said, never burn bridges. Things happen for a reason, never burn your bridges. And so when Tony Carr was let go from the academy and Terry Wesley moved in, Terry Wesley was it was the academy director that didn't sign Taylor on a contract. So he released Taylor, and then 3 years later he signed Taylor to coach his academy kids. So it was a really good lesson to turn around and say, people do things, for a reason. They have jobs to do, and now he's held in high regard down there. He works for the academy and the foundation, and is loving being involved in football still.
So just to ask at that point, where you mentioned the Wesley family, was Taylor the same team as Sam Wesley? Yeah. Yes,
he was. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, Sam's a good friend, and he's obviously doing. He followed a similar sort of path was part of the academy. His dad was obviously the academy director at West Ham, and then and it's something that when you're at the top of your game at academy sort of level, and then when you realize that you're not going to become the player that you want to be, then you have to look at different career options, or you then actually are able to just carry on playing, but not at the level that you had envisaged yourself, and you go down to the lower leagues, and you can still have a career out of it, but okay, very good. So
Taylor did go down to he still wanted to play football, but he just found that certainly the trainings 2 times a week just wasn't enough for him to he fell out of love with the game as well, and he certainly fell out of love with the injuries. He needed a personal physio wherever he went, so it just became too hard, and spending 2 or 3 games playing and then 6 weeks out recovering from a hamstring injury or a quad injury. But he's in a good place. He's enjoying what he's doing at the moment. He loves the coaching side of things, and for me as a mum, to see him happy is all I want.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely. Well, to see you happy, Tracy, we thought we'd have a look back at one of the most memorable moments in a Socceroos jersey for Dylan, which was a goal that he scored in an under-17s tournament, I believe. And then let's get this up on the screen now. So as his celebration, he got a shin pad out, which had on it, "Happy Birthday, Mum," which is I mean, I've never actually seen anybody since or before do anything like that. So that is that's quite industrious of him to have done that. That could only have raised immense pride in you, surely.
Oh, look, it did. It was a really powerful moment, and the amount of messages that I received saying, "Oh, what a lovely, thoughtful boy he is to be able to think of his mum at this particular moment." It's my favourite photo of all time, and I think that you won't see too many more messages like that, because he was told if he does that again, he'll have a £2,500 fine. So I think that I think FIFA got that message out pretty quick that inflation is stopping. Yeah,
I'd have paid that all day long if that was you'd have fronted that money. That's a ridiculously lovely gesture, especially at that sort of time. That's ridiculous. It's unbelievable. So yeah. Sorry.
Pull out your Paddy Power chocks, will you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's a statue of that, isn't there, somewhere?
Sorry, say that again.
There's a statue of the shin pad. I've seen one. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Correct. It's out in Australia. It's with the A-League team, Perth Glory. It's at their home ground, the HBF Stadium, and it's the statue of him holding his shin pad and wishing me a happy birthday out there. So yeah, another very proud moment and memory that and legacy that he'll live forever.
Yeah, I was going to say that he's been here for a short time, but he's not left a impact in this world before leaving, and that's what I believe that all of us endeavour to do. While you're here, there's no guarantees for how long we're here for, but let's leave an imprint, and how proud you must be of your boy.
No, absolutely. We don't know how long we're here for, and he's certainly, as a 20-year-old, he's done more in probably his lifetime than I ever will. And a lot of people, the people he got to meet and work alongside with, one of his pride and joys was meeting Samuel L. Jackson. And he was at a dinner with them, and he was sitting between the 2 actors that play the twins in Harry Potter. And he was like, "Mum, they're not funny in real life. They're not making any jokes." He just thought he was in for a hilarious night because these 2 mischievous actors were sitting next to him and they were on their best behaviour. So he's actually, he's done a lot in his 20 years, and hopefully his message will be to change the stigma that's associated with men and their health.
Yeah, absolutely.
But on that note, what is the message now for the charity, and what do people need to do if they want to find out more and about either helping, supporting, or just getting some advice on how to check themselves, male and females? What's the best way of doing that, Tracy, and what's the plans moving forward?
Well, the plan for us is to continue to educate and to raise awareness. We have a very close association with the West Ham Foundation as well, and they roll out our education program into about 25 schools in the Newham area, and it's linked to Key Stage 1 and 2 of the national curriculum. So we're really proud of that going out. But for me, the main thing is just to continue raising awareness and to tell, to let people know that, even though the statistics are that on average age 15 to 45 is the most common age, it can happen as young as 6 months old. And, as a baby, you can't be alert. Your parents have to be alert. Your mum, dad have to be alert. The oldest person's been, 69. So there's a really big age bracket that this happens. It's a leading cancer in that age group, 15 to 45. So, we're just trying to give it the airtime that it warrants. You guys need to check yourselves on the first of the month every month, and that is our campaign out there to raise awareness at the moment, the Check 1-2 campaign. And it's just to get you guys into the habit of going, oh, it's the first of the month, I better check what's going on down there. But to be fair, if I can be so blunt, you guys spend so much time with your hands down your pants anyhow. You don't just have to do it on the first of the month. You can do it any time of the day or night. And that's why it's really important that women know about it too, because if they were to turn around and say, oh, I've got this lump, as a mum, I wish I had have known that you need an ultrasound to have a 100% diagnosis, correct diagnosis. And if I'd have known that, when the doctor had come back and said, don't worry, Dylan, it's just a cyst, I would have gone, no, I want an ultrasound. So it's very important for women to also know, because, I always feel that when I reach out to people, it might not necessarily be about them needing to know for their own personal health or their family, but you might have somebody that confides in you one day to say, oh, I've got this lump that's not normal, and that getting an ultrasound helps somebody else as well. So it's for a lot of reasons, just being aware and raising awareness of testicular cancer will hopefully avoid something like this happening again to someone else.
From your experiences with all of this, do you think that men are a lot less likely to be checking? Is this? I mean, I know it's a stereotype that men don't tend to go to the doctors as much, but is this what you believe? I mean, I can honestly say that it's, as I say, in only recent years I've only started to even think about it. But are men a lot less likely to look at this sort of stuff?
I think what they are. They're probably going to notice something, but they're probably less likely to act on it, thinking that it might just go away or it'll be all right, mate. It'll, a couple of months we'll see it again. But with something like testicular cancer, if you get it in its early stages and the disease is actually confined to the testicle, you've got a 96% chance of surviving this. But the moment that it moves outside of that, it travels through the lymphatic system, and your body can just become riddled in a very, very short time. So it's one of those diseases that you must catch early to have a successful outcome.
Tracy, I mean, at the minute with the COVID scenario, and you have your finger on the pulse, obviously, with your foundation, the DT38 Foundation. Have you seen with the COVID scenario that a lot of this has been put on the back burner and almost forgot? I mean, my aunt ended up passing away about 2 months ago from cancer because she was too scared of going to the hospital because she'd seen my nan pass away from COVID a couple of months prior to that. And I think I don't think that's a rarity at the minute. Have you noticed that as well?
Firstly, I'm sorry to hear about that, Glenn.
Thank you.
The only experience that I have had is I had somebody reach out to me and say to me, look, I've just found a lump, and I said to them, you have to go get it checked out. And he said, yeah, my earliest appointment is like 5 weeks. And I went, no, that's not going to happen. The hospital that we're linked to, if somebody could have an appointment within the next 48 hours, and they did. So that's my experience, is that everything's been delayed so much longer than normal.
Yeah. It was. I mean, afterwards, I couldn't help but feel completely frustrated with the current situation. That a lot of things that have a much higher sometimes death rate almost have been put on the back burner for something that has a 99.3% survival rate. It just seemed a bit odd to me, and especially like it. I mean, cancer is definitely one of the main causes of deaths in the UK, and I think it's ridiculous that it's been put on the back burner. I mean, sorry, Tracy, you was going to say something. No,
I was going to say I agree. I just think that it's because it's just such an unknown, isn't it? I'm not making excuses for anybody, but no one really knows. Everyone the instinct goes out the door. You know, you would normally be instinctive in a lot of situations, and it's just gone out the door. It's all regimented. It's all this, must do that, and you know, it's obviously for their own protection, but it's just something that none of us are familiar with.
I really wanted to get your thoughts on this shirt with Dylan's dad and Dylan's brother being paraded. I think this is an absolute sort of unbelievable moment in front of the crowd, and it's something that I'd love to get your comments on. Let's just play the clip of it, because for me it is an absolute standout moment, and it should be almost praised. Do you know, sometimes you get those moments and you don't really feel them. I mean, sometimes you see, I don't know, like moments of silence for certain scenarios and there's crowd interruption, but you can hear through the mic, and you can hear that everybody in that stadium was absolutely at that moment united in making as much noise and being as upstanding for that minute as they could do. How was that for you? I cannot imagine the emotion at that stage.
I remember being numb. The whole family was numb. Yeah. You know, Dylan had passed away the day before, and for me, to be contacted about this moment where they wanted to retire Dylan's shirt, you know, they turned that decision around in less than 24 hours. Well, yeah, less than 24 hours. That this is what they wanted to do to acknowledge Dylan's passing. So for me, it was a really special moment. And, you know, anybody that thinks they're going to get a minute's silence out of a 35,000 strong crowd has got rocks in their head. So, you know, to have people clap that loudly and acknowledge that, you know, it was fantastic. And I think I appreciate it more looking back on it now, because at the time, like I said, I was standing with David Gold and I was just numb, and Taylor and Jim walked the shirt out. And I know they were numb too. You know, we were still trying to process what had just happened 24 hours beforehand. So yeah, it was a, you know, I look back and
real surreal experience, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
You know what? The only thing I want to add to that, me just watching that and hearing the crowd at the ground, and that just fills me with pride.
Yeah, yeah. No, it does, and I know that.
Yeah, I was just going to say, especially with the current scenario that's going on, and there's not a lot of love in football as we speak anymore. But that just seems like everybody united at one stage to recognise what a tragedy that was. Yeah, sorry, Trace, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're okay. That's okay. I just, you know, a lot of people wouldn't, you know, you see the side of the board and that from how they run the football club from a football perspective, but when it's come to managing my family's personal situation, I couldn't write the book any better. You know, the way they've handled us from the moment Dylan passed to even now, you know, having a education centre named after him at Chadwell Heath, you know, of everybody that's come through the academy, and they've singled Dylan out the way they have for the qualities that they want other academy players to possess. It's a huge proud mum moment. And, you know, I that's my coping mechanism, to take those sort of moments away and just go, wow, and look at that big picture like that. Because, you know, you can rattle off the people that have gone on and made tremendous careers that have come through the academy. So for Dylan to be singled out like that is such a proud moment.
It's a forever legacy, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
The young man is left behind, and again, you know, immense. And you know, one thing I wanted to say earlier on when Turk was speaking, and what we need to take away, one thing that I want to reiterate to our listeners, and I will take away from today, and I will spread the word between all of our people and everyone listening in our community, is, you know, when you do go see your doctor with something down there, it might be something that's nothing, like you said, it could just be a cyst or something like that, but let's push to actually say we want to get a scan. Let's not be happy with saying that it's only and you know what, I'm probably gonna have to revisit this myself, because I was I've been to the doctor in the last year, and that's exactly what I was told, and it was for me to go into the doctor and actually talk about it itself was quite a harrowing thing for me, where I wasn't comfortable with it, and I've done it, and to be told now it's nothing to worry about, it's just a cyst, and and that's how it's been left for the last year. So
Pre, just look at what's been going on. I mean, sorry to bring it up, and if you don't want to talk about it, mate, don't. But what's been going on with your daughter recently, and the amount of misdiagnosis on your daughter's situation. Priya, she's going through it at the minute. Not on that front, but his daughter's not been very well. He's been passed from pillar to post, and misdiagnosis of misdiagnosis, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, well, when it happened, she's had a pain on the right hand side of her abdomen, and she's initially gone into A&E, and they've put her into a ward, and initially they thought it was appendicitis, and then they thought it was something else, and then they thought it was an infection, and they've done their best to diagnose what it is, but then they couldn't, and she's been in and out of hospital about 3 times, and then we said, look, we've got private health insurance, we're just going to go down that route, and we've been down to see someone in Brentwood, and now again, she's got a swelling in her glands next to her abdomen, her right abdomen, and they still can't work out, because if she had an infection, then that swelling is acceptable. But at the moment, all her tests are coming back clear, so we need to find out why. And we're actually going to Great Portland Street Hospital today to go see another consultant. But what I feel for, and what I was feeling really last night, because she was in pain last night again with it, is, man, I don't want to see my daughter go through this. And is it affecting her confidence? Is it affecting what her luckily she was saying all of her friends at school, and the school's been really nice and kind about it, etc. But it affects them in so many different ways. It doesn't let her be who she is. She does jiu-jitsu, she plays football, she plays cricket, she goes gymnastics, she can't do those things at the moment. And look, I'm sure we will get to the bottom of it, but all we can do is we have to put our trust into the professionals, and that's not just in this industry. I'm a big believer of you go to professionals and you put your trust into these guys, and you have to take their opinion on it, but then it's always best to get a second or a third opinion, just so you're sure and you've got a clear diagnosis of what's going on. But yeah, that's just what's happening with my little Brianna at the moment.
I'm sorry to hear it, but it's just, to me, it's just so important. Like, why not test for the worst case scenario first? Why not test for the life-threatening scenario first to rule that out? Because if you do that, then you're straight away into you wouldn't have to spend months and months and months ticking off all the potential issues that are arising. So yeah, it's always been something for me. Had they tested for testicular cancer first, and then gone backwards with infection or cyst or, twisted, whatever, a lot more people might be here, and maybe there's be a lot more weight lifted off the actual NHS.
Yeah, no, but what I will do, Tracy, I'm gonna feed back to you, and I'm gonna report back to you to let you know how I get on, because I'm gonna follow this up with my own doctor.
And your daughter, I want to know how your daughter's getting on as well.
Darling, we're only local, so yeah, sure, cool. Mate, thank you.
Cool, you're welcome.
Tracy, we are so grateful for you coming on and raising even more awareness to our listeners. Can you leave us with a couple of bits? First off, can you leave us with final bit of advice on what to look out for, signs of anything? And secondly, how we would get in touch with you guys, and what the website is and email address for DT38.
Yeah, one of the most important things is that what's normal for your body, because not everybody's testicles are the same. They're not the same shape, not the same size. So you get to know what's normal, so that when you see a little bit of a lump, or you find out you've got an ache there, or you've got a dull ache in your abdomen, you know that these changes are not what is normal for you. So that's when you go and get it checked out. And you're far better off getting it checked out and having a scan, and people go, it's nothing, it's just this, then obviously the other way around. So yeah, very, very important that you get to know what is normal for your body. We're very proud to link up with a group of survivors from testicular cancer, because a lot of people have questions all the time. They go through this treatment, they're going through this. So we actually have a link on our website to a 1,000-strong group of men that actually have come out the other side of testicular cancer. So, there's support just for people that want to talk about what they're going through. And this all can be found on our website at dt38.co.uk. And we have the resources and, guidelines on how you can check yourself out as well, and who you can contact should you need further support.
Lovely, guys. Well, that was unbelievable, wasn't it? I mean, the DT Foundation, anybody wants to know, dt38.co.uk, do some great things there for testicular cancer, as we've just said. Let's get on to this weekend's fixtures, guys. Saturday's fixtures, the 12:30 there. We've got Crystal Palace versus Man City. Crystal Palace there at home, 15-2 there. I'm going to move a little bit inwards. Crystal Palace there, 15-2. Man City there, 1-3 away. Tone, what's your thoughts on this, mate? Do you think it's just business as normal there for
You'd like to think so, but Man City have got other things on their mind at the minute. So I've got a sneaking suspicion that Man City have got the league wrapped up. I think Champions League's on the front of their minds. I think there'll be wholesale changes. I can see a draw there, to be honest with you.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I don't think so. I think they had things. That's what we thought when we played them on Sunday.
Pep wins cups, right?
I think PSG thought that when they went 1-0 up as well. So.
Yeah.
Nah, mate, look, their strength and depth in that squad, they could probably pay their kids and still probably win this game against Palace. And, all credit to Palace. Palace have got a very good record against City. I think they went and beat them at Etihad a couple of times, where Andros Townsend scored them cracking goals and stuff like that. But, yeah, I've got, mate, Man City away win. I think after this game they need 1 or 3 more points, and that's the league done. I think they need 6 or 4 points to tie it up, innit? So I'm sure they want to get that done.
Do we think Phil Foden has a chance? Do we think Phil Foden has a chance of becoming the greatest English player ever?
Yes.
Yeah, the kid's incredible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you see that run towards the end of that PSG game that he made?
I've not actually seen PSG.
He slalom through, nearly scored a worldie.
Right at the end of the game, this kid has done a Lionel Messi.
Yeah, and just hit it straight at the keeper. But if he sorts his finishing out to the level that which he will.
Mate, how many goals record, his assist record, his play? Like, I was watching it with Amma, which we'll get onto the show at some point, after Arsenal finish below us again. Look, no. I was sitting there with him, and he was saying to me, Sterling, especially first half, he was saying, Sterling, why is Sterling not playing? That pace is needed on the counter attack against the PSG team. I was saying, who are you going to drop? Riyad Mahrez, you're not going to drop him. Bernardo Silva, you're not going to drop him. Phil Foden, he goes Foden. I said, no, wait, Foden's probably been their best player. Yeah. So Sterling's for like teams like Tottenham and Palace and stuff like that now.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think Foden's going to be a world beater.
I really do, yeah, absolutely. And he couldn't have a better person managing that team at the minute. His goal, as you said, his goals record is unbelievable this season. His assist record is unbelievable. But it's not just that. Like, you have a look at Dele Alli from a couple of years ago. His goals and assist record was really, really up there. I've always thought his all-round game is lacking. But you cannot, you watch Foden.
Sorry, mate, going back to us talking about Foden, I've got to go back to what Pep said about him 3 years ago.
Yeah.
He said, this is the most talented youngster I've ever worked with. Are you joking me? The guy's worked at Bayern Munich and Barcelona with their esteemed academies, and the guy sat around and said, Foden's the most talented he's ever, and he's not allowed to go out on loan. He's not going nowhere. He's got to train with the first team all the time. And like you said, innit, Pep is probably going to go down in history as the greatest ever manager, most trophies, etc., etc. And for him to say that, you know, yeah, mate, he's different gravy. And you talk about all these number 10s and stuff like that. Jack Grealishes and Mason Mount and all these boys, they're a notch below. They're a notch below.
I think we'll see it in the summer. There's a strong link there with Jack Grealish and Man City, and that would be an absolutely unbelievable sort of prospect. Thinking of Grealish and Foden as a sort of spine of that team there with De Bruyne. That'd be absolutely unbelievable. We'll see what happens.
Does he fit into that team? You know,
it fits into the numbers they need to get in for English players, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Scary.
Yeah, no.
If you're Jack Grealish, do you want to really go there? I don't know. You probably want to get.
What, you'd rather stay at Villa?
No, it's not that, but he's not going to be the main man there. He's not going to be. It's not even about being the main man. No, but does he start every game? Where does he play? It's not better than. I don't think Jack Grealish is better than Bernardo Silva, mate.
No. I can't see him getting in that team.
Mate, they're completely different players for me. I think Grealish is a
attacking midfielders. Attacking midfielders that can play on the wing or in the middle. I think they're quite similar.
Yeah, but you're not going to have. There's no option with Bernardo Silva of leaving him as a deep line midfielder. Bernardo Silva, for me, is front three behind the striker. I think Grealish has it in him to be that almost Moussa Dembele style, that sort of driving midfielder with the ball who floats past players. He's not as good defensively, but that for me is, that prospect there with him. I don't even think Kane would be a standout player in that team. I think Kane slots in nicely in that Man City team. I really do. I think
Kane, I think in that Man City team scores 50 goals.
Yeah, I think it's pretty. That's pretty set at 40. Yeah. I think that's just ridiculous. You look at the people that they've got there. They haven't got a potent out-and-out striker. You've got Raheem Sterling there. You wouldn't say he's a finisher.
Did you see how Arteta tried to copy Pep and play a false nine yesterday on Thursday?
The Arsenal fans were absolutely slating.
Mate, they haven't done it all season. You've got Martinelli, who I think is a brilliant player. And as soon as he came onto the pitch, the game changed. He came onto the pitch, but look. But then again, Arteta's won something. He won the FA Cup, goes on, won the Europa League. Sometimes you just get lucky managers. Like, there's no way, sorry, Jinx, there's no way, he should be, they should have got out of that game yesterday. And again, it comes down to one of the reasons why Unai Emery wasn't successful at Arsenal. His pragmatic approach after going 2-0 up, he just wanted to lock up shop and hold that, not concede the away goal. And in the same way, after they went down to 10 men, Arsenal actually started playing better, which is the frustration, just like with Tottenham fans, that our players, it's the players, it's all down to the players. Whatever the managers are, it's the players' motivation, the players' mindsets. But yeah, it's difficult. Yeah, get back to the
getting back to this game, mate, this fixture. What was your predictions? What was your thought on the Palace Man City game there, Pro? Tony thought a draw, but
yeah, I think Man City going to win that 3-1.
They performed quite well the other week against, I think it was Chelsea. Palace played, and they played quite well against them. Chelsea are a bit hit and miss at the minute. They're in a bit of a transitional stage, but yeah, I can't see anything other than a Man City win here. Then on to the Saturday 3:00 game. You got Brighton versus Leeds. Gary Potter there linked with a Tottenham job. I would rather see Bielsa, if I'm being bluntly honest. I would absolutely love to see Bielsa at Tottenham. Got a bit of a dodgy ticker, but I think that's the only negative with him. What's your thoughts there on the game, Pre?
Yeah, I think that'd be a really good match to actually watch, mate. I think.
Yeah.
I can see why Graham Potter is being linked to the job. In all seriousness, and I believe there is murmurings about it. Because they play some incredible football, Brighton. They do play some really good football. And if they had a decent striker that could put the chances away, but then you become like a stats guy and talk about predicted goals and stuff like that. They're not. They're like 17th or 16th in the league. But is that the level of Brighton? I don't know. But he's done well. He's done well. Taking away, discounting him, linking him from the Spurs job. But I think Brighton play really good football. But then for the masters of it, Leeds play incredible football.
Yeah, good game.
What I love about Leeds is it don't matter if they're 10-0 down or if they're winning 2-0, they've got the same approach. They just keep on playing and playing and playing.
Yeah.
So, it's good. I think it's a really hard game to call. I'm going to go for a 3-3.
I think there's a possibility of that, mate, in all honesty. I don't know whether Brighton have the attacking power to score 3 goals.
They might not, but Leeds' defence might help them with that.
Yeah. What's your thoughts, Tom? What's your prediction, mate?
I think it'll be tight, but I think Brighton have got, again, it comes down to who's got more to play for this kind of towards the end of the season. Brighton have got more to play for. Brighton need to win that game, and I can see Brighton winning that. It'll be tight. I reckon 2-1 Brighton.
It can work both ways with that, can't it? You tend to get a team who has no pressure, relaxed and able to play their own game, or on the flip side, you get a team that's under pressure. No, they've got to win, like a Newcastle over the last couple of weeks, which we've had non-stop predictions on the Newcastle. I think we've had a 26-1 winner on it. We've had 3 weeks in a row of Newcastle wins and draws predicted. So it can work both ways on that. Then you got the Saturday there, 5:30 game. You got Chelsea versus Fulham. I'd say a derby.
It is, isn't it? It's a big West London derby. It's the neighbours. They're probably the closest
up the road. Yeah.
They're probably the closest proximity in terms of
location,
and
but it's not one of those you think of as venomous, do you?
No, not at all. Fulham
it's not a venomous derby there. You don't have big firms turning up.
When you've got Scott Parker as your manager, trust me, mate, he's going to get them boys geared up for the pump for this game. And
it's been a very Tottenham-based show. And to all your West Ham Newcastle fans, who we know we've got a lot of fans, apologies, but I'm going to touch upon it again. Would you guys see Scott Parker as a manager now, or is it too soon for him? He was in charge of the youth teams at one stage, but do you think this is one step too far for him?
I think so, mate. I think
for Spurs?
Yeah, as a Spurs manager, I think he's going to have another relegation against. Not another relegation. He's going to have a relegation against his name this season. Fulham.
It is another one, isn't it? He took over right at the end of the season. They got relegated.
I wouldn't put that on him. But the stats say, I'll say it's his first. He's had his first full season here, and they did invest quite a bit of money, etc. And he just couldn't get it right. And they've played some lovely stuff, and they've had peaks and troughs, and I think Scotty Parker will be an incredible manager, and he's a very good manager. But I don't think he's ready for the Tottenham job yet. I think he's just going to come a little bit too soon for him.
I think so too, and I think I'd be a bit more deflated if you got a Graham Potter. I was driving this morning. I thought to myself, would I be happy with Sean Dyche? I don't really know.
They were having a conversation about this in Talk Sport, and I think Simon Jordan is one of the most eloquently spoken people on that show, and the way he gets his point across. And Jim White was trying to say to him that how Sean Dyche should be considered for a job like that, and he goes, "Yeah, he should be, but the expectations at Burnley are different to what they're at Tottenham." And Jim White's going, but look at the budget he's done it on, and he's kept on keeping them up. And mate, you never know, but can you see this next appointment is so important for Daniel Levy? It is so important.
There aren't many to pick from. There really isn't. And the only standout for me, Rafa Benitez. That is a standout appointment for me. That's the only one I can see that makes any sense. Yeah. Really?
I think I was getting quite excited with the thought, because they announced earlier in this week that they're going to announce the new manager before the end of the season. So for that to happen, you start then thinking whose leagues are up and who's free and stuff like that. So, firstly, I had my eyes on the Ajax manager, and I thought there's a good chance of him coming in.
I think there's a good chance of it. I don't really think it's.
I don't think there is, mate. He just signed a new 3-year contract today, this morning.
Oh,
did he? All right, I've not seen that.
Yeah, I saw that earlier on, and he was the favourite, I think, after Nagelsmann. Nagelsmann was always going to go to Bayern. As soon as that job was offered to him, he grew up in a town just outside Munich. He played for 1860, and he was offered the job even a couple of years ago when he was at Hoffenheim, and he didn't take it then. And I think he's right to take that. Like, it's mad what they're doing over there. Imagine being a supporter of a non-Bayern Munich and you're supporting a Bundesliga team. It'd just be like heart-killing, isn't it? They buy all the best players.
You're the best manager.
Best manager.
Every single season, it's just the cream gets plucked. You got Leon Goretzka. You got any player that sort of raises their head above.
Yeah. But what's sick is you got Marco Reus that turned around and said, "I can't sell my soul. I'd never go for money. I'd never go to Bayern."
Yeah.
And
you look at Goetze, Mario Goetze. Mario Goetze, who went there, never really pulled up sticks, went back, and he's had issues and all sorts like that. It's not always, but I mean, then you've got Lewandowski, who got plucked and has never looked back. Back onto this, another German here, the Chelsea-Fulham game. What's your predictions here, guys?
I think Timo Werner is going to miss another open goal or something.
I can only see a 1-0 again. I think it's going to be another one of those predictable Chelsea 1-0 wins.
Yeah. I think I'm hoping a 1-1 draw, but that's more hope than reality.
Yeah.
But it is sandwiched between. It's sandwiched in between the two Champions League games. Scotty Parker to get the boys up for it. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, mate.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Thomas.
I mean, on to Saturday there, 8 o'clock. This is a good game. Nice, exciting game. Everton versus Aston Villa.
That'll be a proper good watch, that will.
Yeah. It's you got Aston Villa there. It looks like 19-20, 5-2 they're the draw, and 11-4 the away win there, Villa. I can see a really good game. Really, really good game. What's your idea on the score here, Tony?
That's a tough one to call, Everton obviously going for the Champions League places. They're right in the mix. I'm going to go for an away win, I think Villa, they're one of them teams, they can be on one game, off the next. We need them to win, to be honest with you. We need Everton to kind of lose a bit of pace, and I can see it happening. But I think it'll be tight either way. I'll go 1-0 Villa, a tight game. Hopefully Villa get the win. But yeah, anything can happen. They're both unpredictable teams. That's the problem, They can play brilliant one game and then the next they're off the boil. So yeah.
I do think Ancelotti's done a good job there so far. I really, really do. I think they're. I don't like playing against them, and they've got a good starting lineup when all fit. But then I've put some money into it when you think about it. The amount of money they put into that starting lineup, and to not.
We were talking about it the other day, like Sigurdsson 50 million, Richarlison 50 million, Alex Iwobi 40 million or 38 million.
Yep.
It's like, James Rodriguez, they paid some stupid money and stupid wages for him, and you've got Lucas Digne.
You look at Pickford.
Yeah,
Pickford
they paid about 30 million, didn't they?
30 million, yeah. They've got Michael Kane. Like they've paid some. Scary.
They paid 30 million for Kane as well from Burnley, didn't they?
Yeah, they paid big money.
Yeah, I really like Luca Digne. I really like Luca Digne. I think he's destined to be picked up if they don't progress any further than they are.
Dude, he's come from
Barcelona.
PSG and Barcelona. It's not as if he's come from crappy teams. Yeah, he's come from Barcelona. No. But then again, he had to take over Leighton Baines, who I always thought was bloody quality, mate. Leighton Baines was a proper player.
For a decade, he was the best left back around, wasn't he? Yeah.
He was, mate.
Always the first pick in fantasy Premier League.
He was like they signed him from. They signed Leighton Baines from Wigan, didn't they?
Wigan, yeah.
Wigan had some good fullbacks. They Leighton Baines, and they had that right back that was at Ryan Taylor or something, wasn't it?
They had Ryan Taylor, they had Figueroa. They had some really good players.
I was reading the other day talking about Wigan, how Dave Whelan's missus talked him out of buying Man United in the mid-80s.
Well, fuming.
But it's in cycles it comes. Though you have a look at all the players that they had at that stage. I mean, they had some Hugo Rodallega. They had some really well-known players.
He's in Turkey. He's still playing, mate. But yeah, you're right. And all that comes down to.
I think my dad's in Turkey playing. I think you could get a contract anyway.
No, what I was going to say was, like, we talked about it last week, on the show and stuff like that, about the Super League and why the European teams want to set it up is because the money in the Premier League is just a different level, man.
Yeah.
Different level. And that's why you see teams like Wigan's, Hulls that come to the Premier League. They get the best players come and sign for them. Like,
Hull had Giovanni.
I was just about to say Giovanni. Yeah, they had Diego. They had proper players, mate. Like, they're getting to a lot of top 6 teams. Yeah. But they want money and they get paid. And good luck to them, mate. Good luck to them.
Let's pop onto the.
Congratulations to Hull again. They've just got promoted, haven't they? They got promoted to Championship again. Lee Farnborough's done a great job on the recruitment side of things. So well done, Lee. If you watch the show, mate. And good luck. Good to see the Tigers back in the Championship.
Let's pop on to the Sunday games. We've got Everton, Aston Villa there again, but let's pop on to Sunday 2 p.m. You've got Newcastle versus Arsenal. I'm looking forward to that game. Newcastle versus Arsenal, 29-10 Newcastle home win. Newcastle home win, 29-10. 11.
Did you see Alan St. Maximin's tweet to that Liverpool fan?
Oh, the Mane one, yeah.
Do you think that's incredible? That's quality, isn't it? Saying, listen, mate, thank you for the message about me swapping with Mane, but
respect him.
Respect.
Yeah.
Sound like Jose Mourinho.
Yeah.
Respect me. Jose Mourinho don't care, mate. He's just going to be paid off by Tottenham. He's just signed up with TalkSport as their head pundit for the Euros. Yeah. But anyway, respect.
I think that's him. I mean, the only job I can foresee him getting in England again is the Wolves job. You think of the connection with Mendes. You think of the connection with Mendes. That is the only job I can foresee him getting.
No, I make you wrong there, mate. I see him getting a national team job, if anything.
No, I mean in the Premier League.
No. Sorry, okay, yeah, in the Premier League, but
that's the only job I can foresee.
I see him going. Yeah. If he's going to stay with club football, he's going to go to either Italy, or because that's his style of football.
That's the only other option. I could see him going to Inter Milan again.
I think he should go to the national team. I think he'll be a good national team manager. Portugal, you have that connection with the boys and stuff like that. As well. Mate, they're incredible, mate. They've got some ballers there. They've got some players.
So back onto the game, mate. Let's jump off of Jose because Jose gets enough headlines. The Sunday 2 p.m. game. Newcastle Arsenal at St James's. I really can see Newcastle nicking a win here. You look at they've had a midweek fixture. This is an unbiased point of view. I promise you. I could see Newcastle nicking a win here. Their tails are up. Joe Willock probably won't be playing. I can foresee him.
They're not going to win then, are they? They're not going to win it, Joe.
They're not going to nick it.
They're not going to score all in.
Look, their tails are up. I can see him nicking a win here. 29-10 there for me. What are you thinking in terms of score?
No. I think I say a score draw, mate. I say a 2-2 or something.
And
yeah.
Tom?
I think Newcastle will nick it. I think it will be. I don't know if it will be that many goals in that one. I can see them cancelling each other out. Mid-table or relegation battle, I should say. But no, I think it'll be a 1-0 Newcastle. I think it will be tight. I think Arsenal, again, their focus is elsewhere, isn't it? They need to win the Europa League, simple as that.
Yep. They're coming from behind.
That's a biggie next, mate.
Big game, very big game. And let's see if the players can get us up for it as if the fans are there. You got Man United versus Liverpool. It's sometimes these big games end up cancelling each other out at the minute and kind of but I cannot see that with this particular one. I think you've got two teams there. I think you've got Liverpool looking to prove that they're still the big dogs. I don't think they're going to win the league, but I mean, in this individual tie, they need
it for top four, mate. They need to win that game if they're going to get to the top four.
But
Manchester United, to be honest with you, mate, Manchester United looking like fire at the moment.
They're on another level right now.
They're looking like fire, mate. They destroyed Roma the other night.
You got Bruno back on scoring form. He had a couple of weeks off, but you've got an absolutely on fire team there currently, and nobody's really saying Rashford at the minute. It's not Rashford that's holding that team up. It's the rest of the players, which was which wasn't thought of early on in the season.
Edison, Cavani, mate, they need him to sign that other contract, mate.
Cavani, Pogba and Fernandes are just, they're looking like world beaters, the way they kind of took Rome apart in that second half the other day. Incredible. And I can only see them turning over Liverpool as well.
Yeah.
I can see a draw here.
Not from a Tottenham bias, but I want Man United to smash them.
Yeah.
I can see a draw. You got 9-5 there, Man United, which is long odds, like really long odds. 9-5. That's nearly 2-1. That's really, really long odds. You got a very unappealing game here. Tottenham at home against Sheffield United. Very unappealing. Not the highest rated fixture that they're going to have on the TV. That's 7-15. Tottenham 2-7 on. 9-2 the draw. 10-1 the away win. I can see a Tottenham win. I can see it being an uneventful game. I can see them just nicking the points, which will do. Job done. What are your thoughts here, guys?
I think you summed it up. I actually see us smashing Sheffield United, but yeah. Either way, 3 points are 3 points, and you never know, mate. It's been a funny old league. Let's see what happens.
We got a good run of fixtures.
We've got a good run of fixtures, and I think that cup final hurt, mate. That cup final hurt, and you know, mate, what are we? I type on flat track bullies at the moment. You know, we don't play a big team. You play well, smash them. You know, we went on those run of games where we won 6 games in a row, but when we've done that, you know, straight after we lost 3. But look, we're going to win this game. I think it's not. There's no doubt, and we're going to win this game. You think it's going to be tight? I think we're going to smash them. 3 points in the bag, and we move on.
Yeah, and we'll move on. Then you got Monday's game: West Brom versus Wolves. You got 2-1 there, the home win. 11-5 the draw. 7-5 there.
It's a derby, country derby, that is.
Yeah, just about.
And Wolves got smashed 4-0 by Burnley last week, didn't they?
Yeah. Which is what got me thinking in regards to the Mourinho thing. And Nuno, has he gone through his cycle there? He's done a blinding job, really, really good job. I wouldn't want him.
You wanted him at Tottenham, innit? You wanted him at Tottenham. Yeah.
I've heard that. I've heard Nuno to Tottenham as well. I've heard that whispering.
I wouldn't particularly want. I really wouldn't. He didn't do a great game at. It says it all, probably a bit of a yawn there for this game, but I think probably a draw or something along those lines. I think Nuno's on his way out, and I think we'll move on to the other game here. In memory of our Turk, you got
in memory. Monday. I was going to say about the real team in claret and blue. Come on, Burnley. Chris Wood to follow up last week's hat trick and another couple of goals. Bang bang.
Let's get an unbiased opinion. Let's get an unbiased opinion for once on a West Ham fixture.
Ginger Mourinho to do the business, and
I don't know, man. I think we all like to see West Ham lose, but again, I think West Ham are playing good football. As much as I hate to admit it,
I think they've come off the ball recently. To be honest with you, mate.
Yeah, I think they've run out of steam with the players that they've got out of action. You got Declan Rice, you got Antonio, both unfit for quite a while now. I think
it's quite a big miss for them as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see. But we do love all you West Ham fans watching our show. Keep on supporting the Saturday morning G&T. But it's nice to get a bit of Tottenham bias on here today.
Talking about West Ham, congratulations there to David Moyes on the London Manager of the Year award.
Yeah,
I really think truly deserved. Yeah, 100% deserved. I cannot see.
I suppose until now, when they had to pick it, he deserves it.
Absolutely.
There's nobody even close, mate. There's nobody even close.
I mean, let's be honest. With David Moyes, the fans wanted him out. Pretty much, the media were saying that he's not doing the job he was brought in to do. I think what he's done with them is
regardless of where they finish, even if they finish 6th or 7th.
West Ham were relegation, weren't they? For the last couple of seasons, we're talking about West Ham in a relegation battle.
They were last season,
and he's bringing them into Europe. Pretty much, West Ham haven't been in Europe for how long? When's the last time they were in Europe?
If they qualify for it for the league, then they actually qualify for it, and they don't need to play their qualifiers against Sharif and get knocked out as they normally do. But, No, he's done a great job. He's been the best manager in London there.
Yeah,
so far this season. Thomas Tuchel probably got something to say about it, to be honest with you, but he ain't probably been here long enough.
I still think it's been a bit bitty for Thomas Tuchel. I really don't think he's been impressive at all. He's got them functioning on a German Vosbrunduck technique basis, but apart from that, I don't really see. He hasn't done a standout job, but I don't see anybody else that has.
He's had like 16 clean sheets out of 21 games.
Yeah, they're a machine.
That's what I'm saying, on a functional basis.
Yeah, but isn't that what football's about, though?
Sad, isn't it? Apparently, that's what it is.
That is what it's about, isn't it? Results, make them in the Champions League semi-final. They got the away goal. They should have put them to bed.
They'll win it. I've got a bad feeling they'll win it.
The Chelsea.
Yeah, they're just
you know
designed
what?
to win.
Do you think there's a chance?
For me, I'd want PSG to win it. But if City go through, I'd be with City all the way.
Oh, so would I. So would I.
You know what? The football they play and how they play it, mate. But then, saying all of that, team like Chelsea cancel you out, innit?
Chelsea are the kind of team who will batten down the hatches. They will, whether it be PSG or Man City. I think they'll win that.
They've just got that in their DNA, haven't they? They've just got that, that ability to nick that trophy in their DNA now, which is something that Tottenham do not have in the slightest. There is no the final hurdle.
I never would have guessed that. Not with all the friends and family and foes that keep on reminding us about that. I never would have guessed that, mate.
Yeah.
No. Did I strike a vein there, mate? I'm trying to be neutral, trying to be impartial. Did I
Turk would have had a bottle hanging around, wouldn't he?
Yeah,
Turk would have had a bottle, so I'll hold up Turk's bottle, which keeps sending us.
Well, Tony, I've got to say, mate, what a great substitution. Swapping you over from Turk.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, super sub. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's struck a late last minute.
I don't know about babyface killer though. I don't know about babyface though.
Yeah, but guys, much appreciated. Thank you very much for coming on, Tony. We'll see more of you moving forward. I'm absolutely certain. But yeah, onwards and upwards, up the Spurs. See you later, guys.
All right, cheers.